What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we're hopping into the full story of Phoenix. And this is going to cover all 15 issues ever since the fall of Krakoa, now bringing us from the ashes. With mutant kind of spreading across the globe, headed out to the stars, we have Jean Grey, trying to really figure out what she's going to do next, where she's going to go next. We see her really attempting to reconnect to the Phoenix Force, to fully understand what this represents and how she plays such a huge part in what the Phoenix is, how it has become what it is, and why she would be the true wielder of the Phoenix Force. But this also goes into a deeper understanding of the Phoenix Force's place in the grand scheme of the cosmic entities. And so when Jean Grey steps out of line, Eternity, Oblivion, all those cosmic entities, they come to say hello. They come to put the Phoenix in check. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, it picks us up with the narration of a young girl, the daughter of a priest. Her entire life, she was told that there was one all-powerful God. She was taught to pray, to devote herself entirely to the one true. The story that she tells is filtered through her own understanding of the universe, which is quite complicated. Her name being Adani. In her lifetime, she experienced the universal Church of Truth, conquering entire populations, offering only two options to anybody that they encountered, and that was salvation or death. And as time had went on, she learned that her father only truly hated one thing more than anything else, fearing something more than anything in this universe, and that is the Phoenix. The first time that she had ever encountered Jean Grey, she had never heard of the Phoenix or the X-Men, knew nothing of the story on how Jean Grey became one with the Phoenix, only knew the stories of a murderer, one who destroys worlds, one that consumes suns for substance, an entire species fall in the process. She grew up being told that the Phoenix was the living embodiment of fear itself. And after her first encounter with the Phoenix, that was a pivotal turning point in her life. That her encounter with the Phoenix would change and alter the course of her entire existence permanently. And when the Phoenix arrives, the people declare that she is here to destroy them. But she tries to let them know that that's not the case. That this sun is dying. She is here to prevent this. And in time, the girl, she learned more about Jean Grey, how powerful she truly was. As we see before us, the Phoenix truly burning out of her body, coming forth and absorbing all of this sun's energy. And so all of this takes us to where this story truly begins. A prison inside of a black hole. We have Cade and Nova. Right now, this prison is about to fall into a black hole. With Nova coming out of his coma, he's jumped right back into what he does best. And so while they try to save the day, this is when things go sideways. Damage to the prison, everybody is thrown. But when everybody is thrown, a cell door is opened up. And we see that Morg is free. Morg wastes no time going directly in on Nova. Nova dishing it right back to him. And so while Nova is handling all of this, we pick up with Jean Grey. She's having a conversation with Cyclops. Really just discussing how those people were so afraid of her. Wasn't truly prepared on how it would feel to be so feared. But you cannot deny what she did is a good thing. And absorbing all of that sun, all the excess energy, at least extending the sun's life. Giving it more time before it reaches some kind of critical state. And when Cyclops brings up what kind of timeline they're looking at on when she might return, and this is something that she can't answer. She loves him, she cares about him. Their minds are intertwined with one another, but she knows that she has work to do. She knows that she needs to be out here, she just hasn't figured out why. And though she doesn't technically need a ship out here, she doesn't need anything. Being a cosmic entity and all, she does have a ship that is kind of like her home base. A little reminder of back home. But while they have this conversation, this is when Jean gets an SOS. A distress call, a signal going out. And so with her taking off to save the universe, we pick back up at the prison. Standing tall, we have Pericus. freed from his prison, now free to do whatever he chooses. And in another part of the ship, we have Nova, Morg standing over his body, ready to take him out right here, right now. But as he goes to deal the killing blow, we have the arrival of the Phoenix. Nova's the one that sent out the distress call, with him really getting used to the whole psychic alarm idea. She lets him know that it worked and it was loud. But catching her up on what's going on, the black hole is destabilizing, trying to get hundreds of dangerous criminals out of this area into safety before it falls apart. This is where Jean decides that she's gonna go out and try to stabilize the black hole. Considering she just absorbed a dying sun, how much harder could this be for her? And so Jean goes out and she gets into the black hole. She became the black hole. She gave every part of herself to the stars, feeling the cosmos as it moved around her, until it eventually joined her in the dance, mimicking her movements. Jean rose with rhythm of the universe and tamed a beast older than time itself. The cosmos simply did what she wanted. The Phoenix had always been a part of her. From the first moment that Jean retreated from reality, holding her own soul at the edge of death, the Phoenix knew Jean was the one who could make the planet stop spinning. Jean is and always has been the Phoenix. But in this moment, she showed the entire galaxy exactly what that meant. While this is ongoing, this is when she gets the message. Pericus has escaped. The Dark God, the one who once defeated Thor, very familiar with who he is. As he takes off in an escape pod, she goes to stop him. But unfortunately, the prison, it is still about ready to explode. And so Jean had to make a choice. Pericus escaped. He took off into the cosmos, but hundreds of lives would be spared this day. But she would never be able to conceive the consequences of her actions, with the Dark God crash landing on a primitive planet, one where they are able to understand his language. We have the young girl Adani. This is the day that she was greeted by a god. Now, of course, the people, they want to fight against him. They're scared. They are fearful. They don't know what to think of this person. And so when Adani's father tries to stand against him, her father is slain right before her eyes. The Dark God had brought death to her home that day, but she would learn much later on in life that Jean Grey pointed the way. Alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we have Jean Grey making it back to home base. After everything that happened at the prison, she spent at least a week among the stars. She responded to every psychic call out for help. And though Jean Grey, the cosmic entity known as the Phoenix, does not require any of the necessities that maintain human life, Jean Grey, the woman, is exhausted. And just as she is able to kick off her boots and lay her head down, she gets a proximity alert. Trying to figure out what is going on, she gets out to find that there is a ship nearby, almost running into them on fire. She can detect only one humanoid life form that is on board. Knowing that this ship is about to blow, she calls out for anybody that might be there. This is when we see Corsair, the father of Cyclops. He lets her know that he's always wanted to be a damsel in distress. And what better way to connect with his favorite daughter-in-law than a daring rescue? But with Jean able to get him off the ship without any harm coming to him, we pick up with Adani. We pick up with her digging a grave for her own father. Narration letting us know that family is messy business. The mess leaves marks, scars, the ones that make us who we are for better or for worse. And when Pericus arrived on her planet, when he killed her father, she buried her emotions along with his body. And while she picks up that shovel, she charges at the Dark God. She knows that she can do nothing to him, and posing the question, your father, the man lying in that hole, what was the most important thing in the universe to him? What did he love most in this universe? He goes on to say that he has known many like her father, who think that power lies in belief. But true power is not something that you believe in. Power is something that you wield, telling her to hold out her hand. This is where he showed her the power of a god. Now, she never mistook any attention for affection, but from this point forward, her entire worldview became engulfed with just one thought, and that thought was to survive. Now, taking us back over to Jean Grey, she's currently talking with Scott, filling him in on the situation, letting him know what exactly is going on. Obviously, Scott's not happy about this. Jean's not happy either, but she's kind of stuck in a situation of what are you gonna do? But with Scott's dad coming into the room, Jean really starts to grill him, tries to figure out what's going on, what happened to the Starjammers. He says that they abandoned him, that they did so for no good reason. And Jean lets him know that I could very easily read your mind right now. I could find out the truth, though I want to respect your boundaries. I want to give you the opportunity to actually let me know what's happening here. That the Starjammers, they didn't abandon you for no good reason. But he goes on to say that he is actually trying to change. That it embarrasses him to say that it took him so long to realize he needed to change. He tried playing the hero. He tried making Scott proud. And all of it started at Game World. He was talking to a guy that he knows, one that owns a very reputable establishment that serves a number of different refreshments. But after hearing that people are going missing, he started to ask some questions, retracing steps. And that's how he found out that a ship docking at Game World about once a week, no papers, paying off the guards, and the arrival coincidentally coincided with a new wave of disappearances. He watched waiting for the ship to leave the docks, but when he finally saw it, the ship he recognized. It belonged to the Black Order. He followed it to a small moon, but as he tried to get closer, that's when he was attacked. And so, the way Jean sees it, if he's telling the truth, Thanos' generals are kidnapping people from Game World. But this doesn't sound right to her. But if there are people that are kidnapped by the Black Order, she has no other option but to go try to help these people. This is what takes us to a moon only a few light years away from Game World. We have Proxima and we have Black Dwarf. They currently stand with a whole handful of kidnapped individuals. And when one breaks free and tries to run, the ground begins to rubble. It looks like these guys are about to fall. When Proxima gets prepared to attack, she is unable to do so because we have the arrival of the Phoenix, letting the Phoenix know that she shouldn't be getting in the way of Black Order business. If innocent people are in danger, it is always the business of the Phoenix. And so as the two of them clash together on this isolated, frozen tundra, the ground continues to rumble as we see innocent lives falling down into a pit. Phoenix stops her battling and she charges to save them. But in trying to save them, something grabs hold of the Phoenix. It appears that this may have been a trap, Jean finding herself straight in the face with Black Order, but she is now facing an army of Asgardian zombies. Alright gang, so as we start off this issue, we pick up in the quarry of creation, outside of time and space at the edge of the universe. This is a graveyard of gods, where Pericus took Adani. The universe is filled with gods. Some of those gods, they lie, they cheat. Others protect and nurture. Some want to destroy. Some simply are indifferent. But all gods, regardless of their function, they all pass judgment. This is where we see the quarry rise up. It has come to judge Adani's soul, to judge what she is and what she may become. On a moon approximately 3 light years away from Game World, we have the Phoenix that is looking for the Black Order, though they are quite a bit preoccupied because they have a Asgardian zombie horde that's descending down on them. Jean Grey's trying to figure out why the Black Order would want anything to do with these zombies. She knows how to do this, but she can't do it on the physical plane. With Jean reaching out to one of these zombies and touching it on the head, she is able to find a remnants of a man inside. And while this man has only heard stories of the Phoenix, stories of her power, he now begs for her help. But before she can help, she has to understand understand. Understand who he is, what he represents, and why the Black Order would be trying to take him, would be trying to take all the zombies. As we pick back up with Adani, the god judges. He can sense the hurt, the anger, the loss, but he can also sense the love. All of these things inside, and any one of those could dictate the direction that she chooses. Rarely do we have the option, do we have the opportunity to choose the direction for ourselves, to decide where we want our lives to go, on what emotion we are going to put the most eggs into that basket. And so, asking Adani, who are you? Taking us back to Jean Grey, we find out about our Asgardian story. These zombies, as you can imagine, they were once regular people. The Black Order is not the first to try and claim them. In those days, Odin, his son, blood is all they knew, bringing death and destruction to the Asgardian people. This soldier believed that Asgard, it could be a peaceful nation, at least under the right leadership. He was able to find some that were able to support his cause. The idea of a better Asgard, a better future. And they fought to end Odin's bloodline. He knew he would never be seen as a hero or a savior, but he was willing to destroy what he loved to make it better. He never anticipated surviving the attack on Odin, and Odin sentenced them to eternal torture, becoming the Asgardian zombie horde. And Jean, she can really sense all this pain just emanating from his body like heat. Though she's not one to judge, she does make note that killing your own people for a better Asgard is no better than the crimes you accused Odin of committing. Jean Grey finally hearing enough. She says that it is time for them to all rest. She puts them to sleep. They burst into nothing, finally laid down, finally having that peace that they seek, and a single raven's feather falling to the ground. This is when Jean turns to Cyclops' dad and is pretty much like, you could have told me the truth, that you were after the feather this entire time. The truth is, that feather is worth a small fortune. Obviously, Jean's a little pissed off that she was used to find this feather. While they have this argument nearby the Black Order, they're waiting. Jean turns to them and she immediately charges in, with Jean finding herself toe-to-toe with Maw. She tells Maw to listen and listen closely. The next time that Thanos wants to try and come and take something in her cosmos, you better not send the B team. Tell Thanos that he can come and face me himself. With the Phoenix letting out a huge burst of energy, Maw opens up a portal and the Black Order, they hastily retreat. Picking up with Adani, the quarry passed its judgment. Or at least, in a sense it did. The god gave her the option to really judge herself. Decide what you want to be, with Pericus introducing her to the members of the Black Order, letting Adani know that with the help of them, those that would speak on behalf of the Mad Titan Thanos, we will take down the Phoenix. And so as we jump into the next issue, we are picking up in Throne World 2. We pick up with Jean Grey and Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel called just to have her come by. Jean thought it was going to be something big, like a black hole or something of that nature, not necessarily a festival. Captain Marvel's really saying that you can enjoy yourself. You don't always have to be finding all the scariest monsters in the universe and punching them in the face. Carol believes that Jean is kind of still punishing herself. Righting the wrongs a cosmic entity, when it took complete control over her, did. All those atrocities committed in her name. And of course, Carol Danvers, she knows something about this. Having your body feel like it no longer belongs to you. Jean really thought if she put in the work, maybe people wouldn't be so afraid of the Phoenix anymore. The problem is, people are always going to be terrified of the Phoenix. That immense amount of power, it is simply too great. No matter how much good it does, you cannot help but see the destructive potential of the Phoenix. So much raw power. is absolutely terrifying. But with the two of them headed out going their own directions, we pick up with the Galactic Council. All these representatives coming, sitting down, having a conversation about the Phoenix. Gladiator is putting forward that they can no longer just allow the Phoenix to operate without some kind of regulation. And this is something that Gladiator has brought up numerous times. They do point out that the last time he brought this up, it resulted in him terminating the entire human bloodline of the Phoenix. And some of them say, like, if the Phoenix came for you, Gladiator, some of us might be inclined to just look the other way. Of course, Gladiator trying to say that he did what was necessary for the safety of his people, for the entire galaxy, blah blah blah. But the council doesn't see any issue with the Phoenix. She is yet to even commit a crime, so why have any concern? Now, Gladiator, he's gonna argue that Jean Grey currently has control of the Phoenix Force, but they've all seen her lose control. His argument is that it is only a matter of time before she loses control. But Gladiator says that stopping her isn't the answer that they need here. They need to control her. This is where our dark god comes into play. Many of the council can't believe that they even brought him here, but he's about to explain why the Phoenix is the greatest threat that they have ever faced. He is going to prove that you must take the Phoenix out of the equation. This is what picks us up at the Temple of Creation. Telepathically, someone was calling out to Jean Grey, saying that they are going to be her executioner, luring her all the way to this remote location. Jean Grey makes her way inside, and who she runs into is Gore the God Butcher. And obviously, Gore the God Butcher believes that Jean Grey is in fact a god, and so she must fall like all the other gods. Jean is going to argue the biggest flaw in his whole logic is that Jean Grey is not a god. This is where the battle commences. Gore the God Butcher having all black as his heart. Gore saying the last god believed that he could be killed by absorbing the weapon all black, but it only made him stronger. It only strengthened his connection to all black. The symbiote core becoming his very own heart. Gore the God Butcher is all black. While Jean battles, she feels almost ashamed to admit it, but part of her understands Gore. He was a nobody on a nameless planet, watching helplessly as people died despite their prayers to the gods. When his entire family died, something new in him was born. A hatred that infected every part of him. Being a no one in a universe filled with beings who can create and destroy life as easily as snapping their fingers. It would be dishonest of Jean Grey to claim that she thinks Gore's intent was entirely misguided. He used all black the Necro Sword, and he searched out the gods across the galaxy. But without that sword, Gore is nobody. From a nameless planet. She knows this universe has a problem. She knows that solution is not going to be Gore's relentless crusade. She believes she had found a different solution. The solution to Pericus. The solution to the Phoenix. The solution to being a no one from a planet whose people were overlooked by the gods. She believed the solution was not to kill a god, but to become one. This is where we view from the council. They watch as Jean Grey falls to Gore the God Butcher. And Adani wondering why she's here watching this. Because if you guys are trying to demonstrate the horrible power of the Phoenix, watching Gore kill her doesn't really prove your point. But the Dark God says to keep watching. The Phoenix is more than simply a cosmic force. It is a symbol. The Phoenix is no stranger to death. And each time the Phoenix meets death, she only becomes stronger. With Jean Grey reawakening, the Phoenix comes out, and the real battle is about to begin. Hopping us over to issue number 5. Now, before we continue on with Gore the God Butcher, the Phoenix is gonna have a visit with another cosmic entity. The Phoenix has a conversation with Eternity. Now, Eternity, of course, has been expecting the Phoenix. Jean thinking to herself, did Gore the God Butcher kill me? Is that why I'm here? And in a sense, that is why she's here. Not because she died, but because she's thinking in the terms of living and dying instead of becoming the soul of all that is. Of course, Jean doesn't fully understand what he's talking about, so he shows her. We see the cosmic dance of all the entities. Eternity, oblivion, death, celestials, all of them. This grand spectacle. Eternity is showing Jean Grey that it is time for her to join them, to accept your place where you truly belong. What Eternity is telling Jean Grey and the Phoenix, they are known as creation. Just as death exists, eternity exists, oblivion exists. Jean Grey and the Phoenix are the living embodiment of creation. They have watched her become the hero. We've seen everything she can do, but she is so much more than that. So Eternity asks, why are you holding back? They all can feel it. The walls she put up, the prison she has built herself in, that she came to the stars because she knew what she needed to become, but still she resisted. This is because she doesn't want to lose Jean Grey. But Eternity reminds her that Jean Grey's an idea, one that cannot be lost, but brought into existence. It may change, but it can never be lost. Jean's still hesitant because if she lets go and becomes what Eternity suggests, what if she loses control? Eternity simply tells her, you can control it. And it's that simple. To a being that does not exist as a part of the fabric of the universe, it would be exceedingly complicated. But she is the Phoenix. The Phoenix does not exist alone. There is a piece of you in every star, in every planet, in every being. The Phoenix is creation. This is what brings us back. The Phoenix in full force standing against Gore the God Butcher. Jean wanted to be a hero, the kind that stopped one bad guy before moving on to the next, to right her wrongs of the past. But the problem was Jean, she was no longer a hero of Earth. Jean was the most powerful person in the universe, telling Gore the God Butcher that I am no god. You were mistaken, because gods have limits. This is where we see her take Gore the God Butcher and damn near bottle him up out of existence, saying that he has caused so much pain. She turns Gore the God Butcher into a star, telling him that he will nurture an entire ecosystem of planets. Now, the Galactic Council, they're all watching this happen. Obviously, they all freak out. They're like, holy shit! Like, did the Phoenix just turn Gore the God Butcher into a freaking star? Gladiator's argument is, no matter the punishment Gore is supposed to get, would you deem the punishment being turned into a star? That this council exists for a reason. The Phoenix stands in opposition to everything you have built, to the order you are trying to maintain. And this is when Jean Grey chimes in, letting them know, like, I can hear everything you guys are saying. And while she tries to argue for herself that she's here to help, Dark God pops up and he decides that he's gonna try to chime in. Jean goes on to say that All Black replaced Gore's heart. Without it, Gore wouldn't be able to survive. He was not allowed to be able to maintain that kind of weapon. The easiest way to handle this situation was to bring some good from his death. He had to be separated from All Black. This inevitably leads to him dying. And so she turned him into a star in a way that his essence and being can help countless planets be able to thrive, ending the communications. The council now comes to the conclusion that their only option is to side with the Dark God. Their only option and chance of survival in his alliance with Pericus. This is where Adani shows up, saying that she had to see it for herself, just as volatile as she had ever thought. But she tells the Phoenix that I'm nobody, simply a life that was destroyed, a father she loved taken away, telling her, you could have stopped the Dark God. Instead, he came to my planet. He killed my father. My soul was judged. And all this started because of you. But Jean, she apologizes, says she did everything she could in those moments, but telling her that you're also not nobody. Jean can feel her soul at war within her body, offering out a hand to help. Adani takes out her sword and she swings it. Given a new purpose, she swings this sword in judgment. Now this sword, it's able to cut the Phoenix. but it also has a power that Adani simply cannot control. This is a psychic reverb. The voice is screaming out in pain. Adani can do nothing but call out for help. And so the Phoenix, using her powers, creates a psychic barrier to help block out the voices. Adani furious that the Phoenix is in her mind, but the Phoenix telling her, like, if I didn't do this, the voices would have killed you, because that sword has psychic abilities, ones that you don't understand, your untrained psychic abilities wouldn't even be able to comprehend. As Adani stands up ready to fight again, we pick up at the Galactic Council, our Dark Lord saying that he is going to deal with the Phoenix once and for all, but in exchange for his protection, Thanos is going to be taking over leadership of the Galactic Council. This is what takes us over to issue number 6. We pick up with Jean Grey and Adani, the Black Order here by her side, and Jean trying to tell her it doesn't have to be this way, that she doesn't have to fight, making the decision to take up that sword and swing. Adani wakes up from her sleep, thinking to herself that she faced the Phoenix, she failed. Worse than that, Jean had entered her mind. She put up a psychic barrier in her mind to stop the voices of everyone across the galaxy in need of help in that moment. Millions of voices crying out in pain. We can see Adani is battling, struggling with this battle in her mind. The good versus the evil. The innocence in her just wanting to break free. To reach out to the Phoenix and just ask for help. Ask for some kind of safety from this dark god. As we pick up with Corvus and his armada, they have come in to try and fire on the Phoenix. Thanos has control over the Galactic Council. He has sent this armada to take down the Phoenix. But she's not working alone. As this battle gets underway, we have the arrival of Nova. As they battle, the Phoenix knows that Thanos isn't here, but she also can't sense him anywhere. She should be able to find him or the Dark God. It's like they don't exist, or there's something that is blocking her abilities. And that something is the Warlock's Eye, having the psychic capability to really block out and hide his signature from Jean Grey, from the Phoenix. Now in control of the Galactic Council, he is subjugating worlds, taking them one planet after another. Corvus showing up to let him know the Phoenix has shown up, Nova is there, and we are in some deep trouble. But the Phoenix having some help gives Thanos an opportunity. This is where he uses the Warlock's Eye, takes control of Nova, and has Nova attack the Phoenix. As he attacks, she does everything she can not to hurt him, but inevitably she has to knock him in the face. Knocking him down, knocking some sense into him. He gains control again, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Jean now knows that something is giving him augmented psychic abilities. Could be any number of things in the universe, but she knows she has to take the fight to Thanos. And taking the fight to him means she's gonna need a little bit more help. Not knowing what she's walking into, not knowing what weapons he has, what magical powers he may have come across or person he may have come across. She needs to make sure she's got some help. And so with Nova coming along, we have the arrival of Captain Marvel. We have the arrival of Sif and Rocket Raccoon. For what the Dark God has done to Asgard, Sif has joined the fight. This is what takes us to issue number 7. As they travel, they debrief her on the Warlock's Eye, a weapon that grants the wielder powerful mind control abilities. It had been under Asgardian control until recently. As they prepare for battle, they don't really know where they're headed, but then she thinks maybe Adani can help me out. They've been forming a psychic leak in their dreams. She's thinking maybe this will work. And so she taps into her dreams, tells her that I need to see you, wanting to help each other. Jean shows her entire life, shows Jean's life. The death of her friend in her arms, going to the school, becoming an X-Men, becoming Dark Phoenix, showing her all the darkness that has been inside of her, trying to help and have Adani understand her. Jean Grey, a woman of limitless power but immeasurable pain. Adani willingly giving up the information of where Thanos is. Our heroes don't waste a second. They get to the planet, they get boots on ground, and Rocket Raccoon opens fire. as our heroes take on the generals of the Black Order. The Phoenix goes to take on the Mad Titan. Jean doesn't waste any time in going in on Thanos. And when Thanos hits back, he uses the Warlock's Eye, hitting her like a bolt of lightning. It begins to wrap her up, and he tells her that the Phoenix may be all life in creation, but Thanos serves death, asking her, how does it feel knowing that you are going to destroy the entire universe? Captain Marvel and the others, seeing her starting to get overpowered, overcharged, a swirling tornado of lightning surrounding her, pushing any hero out that tries to go in. Thanos tells her that you believed your powers were enough to defeat me, and most likely you would have been correct. On the battlefield, he probably wouldn't have succeeded against the Phoenix. But what happens when life incarnate becomes irrevocably corrupted by death? This is a void that would cancel out all of existence. Life and death vying for control inside one vessel, inside Jean Grey, with her currently trapped and paralyzed. The forces beginning to devour themselves. Thanos used the Phoenix Force and he walked right into the trap. But if she could stop being the vessel, it might be able to change something. She is the Phoenix is her. But the power of the Phoenix, if she could remove the ability and stop Thanos from channeling the Warlock's Eye through it, the only person she is able to psychically reach, it might be too dangerous. But reaching out to Adani, she gives the power of the Phoenix to her, and in doing so, takes away any power of what Thanos was doing. The Warlock's Eye currently down. Sif takes her sword and drives it right into the eye. Captain Marvel simultaneously coming in and knocking Thanos right to the ground. Thanos says that this was a smart play, giving up your powers to stop the Warlock's Eye. It was an unpredictable move. Perhaps your only move on the board, though you think you may have bested me. You created your own worst enemy. And now Adani with a part of the Phoenix powers. Jean tells her that you can't keep these powers, that they're going to destroy you. Jean attempts to take the powers back from her, but Adani tries to fight her. And in this, we see a giant blast of light. She had trusted Adani because she wanted to believe that she could prevent the very same thing that happened to her, to save a child from corruptive pain. But no matter how hard she tries, she can never escape this past. As we pick up in the blue area of the moon, the Phoenix is fragmented, and so this takes her back home. It takes her back to the X-Men. Alright gang, so this story starts us at the very beginning. Before the cosmos, the Phoenix was a flicker in the darkness, a manifestation of the universe's yearning for life. From the first thought that echoed through the emptiness, the Phoenix was there, a guardian of creation, a catalyst for evolution. All life emerges from the flames of the Phoenix, and all life shall return to them. They are the cycle of life itself, the promise that from every ending comes a new beginning. On the blue area of the moon, this is where we pick up. The last thing Phoenix remembers, she was facing against Thanos, using the Warlock's Eye, an ancient Asgardian magical artifact. So ancient, nobody really even knows how it works or where the power comes from. It was used to be able to try and control Jean Grey. The Warlock and her kind of merging together. It almost created a void that threatened to erase all of the universe. And so she released her power to Adani. Donnie, unwilling to give back all the power, it has caused the Phoenix to become fractured. As Jean has a conversation with Beast, Jean looks over and what she sees is the X-Men, all standing ready to fight. This is a moment that she lives in far too often. But today, something is different. They're not here to fight the Imperial Guard. She looks over and she sees that they are fighting the Dark Phoenix. And the Phoenix had altered this memory because it wants to remind her that all power comes at a cost. This is where we pick up with Adani, Pericus and her currently training, trying to hone her abilities. Having just a fragment of the Phoenix Force in her, she's able to manifest all kinds of things. And so while she battles the alien horde that is her own mind creation, she thinks to herself how the Phoenix showed her the limitless power that comes with immeasurable pain. But when she felt the power of the Phoenix anchor itself deep in her heart, deep in her soul, the only thing Adani felt was freedom. This is where we see her let out a huge blast of fire, and Pericus lets her know that they showed up because you didn't listen to me. If more of the Phoenix's memories exist at the echoes inside your mind, then you have the potential to create something far worse than what we just saw. This is what happens if you become distracted. In this moment, we see Adani lash out with her emotions, and when she does, she apologizes. But then the Dark God sees this is the key to unlocking her power. They need to focus on her emotions. They need to focus on how she's feeling. Then and only then would Adani be able to bring back the Shadow Realm. That is the Dark God's goal. He is to bring back the Shadow Realm, and he is going to use Adani with her fragment of the Phoenix Force to do so. Taking us over to Nova and Rocket. They are currently sitting here in space, looking at a giant flame cocoon. Inside the cocoon, Jean Grey. Whatever happened, it caused Jean to go into a cocoon-like state. And right now, Rocket's trying to break through, as him and Nova argue over the best way to figure this out on how to deal with the situation. They do come to the conclusion that if this is in fact a cocoon, that means there's gonna be a transformation. And so while they try to force this thing open, maybe she just doesn't want to come out until she's ready. The question is, if the Phoenix is transforming, what the hell is she transforming into? Picking back up with Jean facing off against the X-Men, we see the battle, the inner turmoil between Dark Phoenix and Phoenix. When she became the Dark Phoenix, she didn't understand the power that was in her, and she feared it. That fear is what created the Dark Phoenix. And while she's found balance with this power, she has not found peace. In fact, she doesn't believe that she deserves peace or redemption, because how could she after the things that she has done? She doesn't believe that that is in the books for her. After all the things she has done and the people that she has harmed, and she tried so hard to be more than her past, to do enough good to balance out what she did, but she knows this is always going to follow her, even to the deepest reaches of space. But she knows that this isn't about erasing the darkness, it's about using it. That is the true power of the Phoenix. The power to transform, not the universe, not the world, but yourself. As we pick up with Adani, we see the Dark God beating the crap out of her. He is doing so in an effort to get her angry, to use her emotions to bring back the Dark Realm. And he is finally able to push her enough, just enough to bring back some of it, and some of the Dark God generals. With just a fragment of the Phoenix Force, Adani was able to bring them back from the Shadow Realm, bringing the Shadow Realm right here. This is where we see the Phoenix, the Eternal. From the ashes of every world she has touched, new life will rise again. She is a guardian of the cosmic balance, the keeper of the flame that ensures the universe remains ever in motion, ever alive. And she will extinguish any threat that dares to challenge with this existence. Jean Grey the Phoenix is creation. This is what takes us over to issue number 9. Rocket and Nova seeing her in her new form. Both of them can't help and stare in absolute awe of the goddess that stands before them. And Jean lets them know that Captain Marvel and Sif finished assigning the Galactic Council in restoring order, but Thanos is still missing. He disappeared after the battle, and she could go looking right now because the Warlock's eye is no longer blocking her. But first, she wants to deal with Adani and the Dark Gods. She is the guardian of cosmic balance, and that balance is currently in jeopardy. Before they head off, Rocket Raccoon has to ask the question like, are you good? Because you just went into a flame cocoon and you came out looking like you look. You're a freaking glowing space princess. Not to mention, you're starting to sound a little more cosmic entity, responsible for all creation and a little less Jean Grey. And Jean says that she gave up the powers of the Phoenix to Adani because she thought thought it would save the universe. But now she can feel it tearing Adani apart, and with her, the very fabric of reality. She has to go put this back together. She has to fix this, telling Nova and Rocket that it's probably best you both be somewhere safe. And so, in the blink of an eye, she transports them to a tropical planet, beachside, being served drinks. And Nova, a little boo-boo face about it. Rocket's more than happy to take in the luxury. This is what hops us over to the Shadow Realm, home of the Dark Gods. Adani working to try and make the Shadow Realm even bigger, trying to bring it all here until it is all consuming, all devouring, until this universe is nothing more than the Shadow Realm. And the other Dark Gods, they are growing impatient. They want Adani to actually do more. But let her think that she is leading this, because that girl's hunger could reshape the cosmos. It could be an art image if we feed this properly. More than certain, the Shadow Realm can fill her until she overflows, letting the shadows spread and consume all of existence. They can plunge every corner of the universe into darkness, where they reign as the gods. This is where we see Adani overtaken by the shadows, the Shadow Realm absorbing into her. She doesn't fear the power. She sees it as control. Picking up with Jean, she could just fly off and find the Dark Gods. But instead, what she's gonna do is bring the Shadow Realm to her. We see the Phoenix create a fracture in reality so vast, it will draw the Shadow Realm's energy to her like a predator smelling blood. The Shadow Realm is trying to break through. The Phoenix is creating a fracture that is going to attract the Shadow Realm as it comes and takes root. A place to feed, a trap that it cannot resist. And so when Jean lures it in, she faces the monsters of the darkness. But this was never a battle. She uses her flames of purification, and this darkness is wiped away in the blink of an eye. As she gets rid of all the darkness, she runs into Adani. Adani's face fractured by the darkness in her. The over-consuming power of the Phoenix and the Shadow Realm. It is tearing her apart from the inside. But Adani doesn't want to hear anything. She attacks the Phoenix. And while this battle rages, reality reverberating, feeling the fractures, we see that Jean and Adani, they are at the nexus of all realities. This is where their final battle takes place. Hopping over to issue number 10. Adani is trying to hold the Phoenix, but Jean's letting her know, like, you can't do this. You know this isn't gonna work. This is when the Dark Gods chime in, saying that they don't have to hold you. You have limitless power. The only thing stopping you from taking out Adani is your own empathy. A brief moment of hesitation because you care about Adani's outcome. A brief moment is all that is needed for the Shadow Realm to begin to spread, all across the universe and into the next. And even the Phoenix can't be in all universes at one time, telling the Phoenix that I can pinpoint the exact moment you failed Adani. Instead of stopping my escape pod, in that moment, you chose this outcome. Now, Jean believes that she made the right decision, helping the greatest amount of people that she could. The Dark God is the one that made the decision to kill Adani's father. As she battles the Dark Gods, she knows what they're doing. They want to slow her down, while Adani, imbued with the Phoenix Force, acts as their vessel, distributing pieces of the Shadow Realm to every part of this universe and others. As the Dark Gods try to make their escape, believing that she's gonna focus on Adani and not worry about them, the Dark God expects her to choose Adani, and he's right. She will choose Adani, an innocent mortal dragged into the affairs of gods, a child whose life is chosen because of the turmoil that we bestowed upon her. But the Dark God also filled with hubris. He sees the Phoenix's empathy as weakness. This is where we see the Phoenix burn. And as the Phoenix flames fill up the universal sky, we see the Shadow Realm burned out of every part of existence. Any progress it was making across the universe is halted in an instant of flame. All of it gone. Dark gods alike. And then Phoenix is standing toe-to-toe with Adani, telling Adani that it only takes a moment to change it all. One choice. A choice that you can make. The shadows will forever live in your soul unless you choose to let go of the darkness. And though this would mean that you're just a girl, that you're nothing more, a girl who couldn't protect her father, a girl in a world of gods and monsters who can do whatever they want, but it also makes you a girl in a world full of possibilities. Because right now it is not your responsibility to understand the whims of immortal beings. It's your responsibility to grow up in your own time, to experience love and friendship. And while the Phoenix can't bring back her father, that is not the purpose of the Phoenix. She oversees the cycles of life and death, but interfering, restoring life when it's been taken, that would disrupt the balance. Even so, Adani chooses the light. We see the darkness in the Phoenix Force lifted off of her, Jean Grey absorbing all of it, and a little girl suffering trauma left behind. As we pick up a little bit later, we pick up at a new sanctuary created by the Phoenix. A wayward home for young mutants and runaways, lost children, orphans, and everything else in between. The moon will now serve as a sanctuary to anyone who has been harmed or displaced by the higher beings of the universe. A place where children can just be children, and it falls under the protection of the Phoenix. Nova in disbelief that she was able to build it this quickly. And this is when Jean tells Nova that I appreciate you really aligning yourself with me, helping me in the stars, all that good stuff, and I need to continue to count on you to tackle the issues the Phoenix can't. Because as the Phoenix, her focus is now on cosmic balance. The universe is a vast garden. She is gonna go out there and she's gonna start pulling some weeds. As she tends this cosmic garden, she's gonna treat each corner of the universe like it is her own family. And if we're speaking about family, someone reaches out to her, both of them believing that the other was dead, but she felt the blast of light. She saw the great shape of the Phoenix in the sky like everyone else in the universe did. She knew she was right to never stop looking because she knew that her sister was still alive. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up in New York many years ago. We have Jean and her sister, the two of them walking down the street like any ordinary day. And like any ordinary day in New York City, crisis is always around the corner. With the ground beginning to tremble, we see the road break way and the demons rise up. When Jean goes to use her powers, they don't work. And what she sees is her sister taken from her. And that is when Jean wakes up. Waking up, having a telepathic connection with Cyclops. They've had a psychic link and they maintain this psychic link all the time. But sometimes it can be pretty sensitive, especially when he feels her heart rate spiking like it's his own. But she's been having these reoccurring nightmares about Sarah ever since she had that psychic message, the psychic image that came to her. But she hasn't received any more psychic messages since when she released the Phoenix Force into the cosmos to stop the Shadow Realm from spreading. Ever since then, the nightmares, they won't stop. But she knows for certain that the first call was a psychic message. Of this, she has no doubt. Now she's wondering, how can I trace it? This is when Cyclops gives her the idea that if you can't detect her psychically, have you tried using the White Hot Room? And this is something that Jean Grey hasn't even considered. This is because in the White Hot Room, New Krakoa exists. She has not wanted to intervene with anything they have going on there. She's worried that her presence might disturb the peace that they have found there. And so she thinks to herself, there's gotta be a way that I can get in there without disturbing New Krakoa. Because if the White Hot Room can help her find Sarah, she believes she needs to try. This is where she goes to tap into it. We all know the White Hot Room offers sanctuary to the Phoenix Force, a hub for resurrection, a forge for reality. But in the final days of the Krakoan era, exiled mutants found their own sanctuary inside the White Hot Room, reviving those who had been killed during the Orcus massacre, and even before it. Every mutant that ever existed had seemingly been resurrected. What was once the cosmic realm for the Phoenix Force became something so much larger, a place of rebirth and second chances. And the one thing she thought she could do for all those living inside the White Hot Room was to stay away, to grant them the peace that they deserve. But the White Hot Room also offers a connection to the Phoenix, a direct connection to the stars. If her sister is out there, this could be the only way that she finds her. But this is when something happens, something blocking her from the White Hot Room, like the link itself is being corrupted. Jean trying to figure out what's happening. This is when Sarah arrives, telling Jean that she knew she would come here. But when Jean passes out, Sarah catches her in her arms, and she takes her away from here. This is what takes us over to my boy, Cable. Now, Cable's doing his usual thing, but he has felt something. And what he is feeling is the weight, the groan of the universe. Something in the universe changed their past. This means that that change is going to spread outward into the future and eventually into their present. Obviously, needing to go handle this and figure out what the hell is going on. So Cable time slides a few hundred years into the past. He's gonna go pay a visit to his stepmother. This is what takes us over to Jean Grey, waking up after being unconscious. She's here in this all white room almost, looking like this is some kind of palace. She is greeted by her sister. She's greeted by Sarah. At first, Jean's very hesitant. She doesn't know what to think about any of this. If her sister's real, if this is all a dream, she's too scared to even say anything at first. But Jean tells her that I've reached for you so many times. The only thing she has ever had was memories, echoes, dreams. Now she wants to understand, how is all this possible? How is her sister standing before her alive and well? Taking her outside, she shows her Greyhaven. This intergalactic city is a safe haven for mutants. Just ones with latent powers. Mutants who have always known they were different, but have been unable to unlock that part of their minds. And that is Sarah's mutant latent ability. She can unlock someone's full potential. Sarah goes on to say that she looked for everyone. Her kids, Paul, her parents. She realized she was the only one left, or she was, until she finally found her sister, saying that she found her in the White Hot Room. She was unable to establish the psychic link. With the help of the psychics here, they were able to help her meet her at the door, and when she found her, something went wrong. She didn't know what to do, so she removed her consciousness and brought her back here. And now she is more than excited to share this family, to share this life. And a warmth in Jean, a warmth in her soul unlike anything she had felt in so long. This is probably why she stopped asking questions. The truth is, Jean needed to believe that it was all real. She needed to believe that she was powerful enough to prevent the future she knew was coming. This is where we see a planet in destruction, Sarah holding Jean, and the arm of Cable floating into the abyss. Alright gang, so this story starting us off on a planet far off, 11 years into their civil war. That's when a ship crashes on their planet. And when the team was sent to investigate, that's when they find Sarah. They find her alive and well after that fiery crash. Now, Sarah was never an extraordinary kid, born into a world filled with mutants, but she wasn't one of them. Her sister Jean was. She was there when her powers activated. She observed all of this. And she would often think, if I had mutant powers, what kind of hero would I be? The truth is, she was always a sweet and kind girl that kind of felt like she didn't have a place. This is where we pick up with the man that had found her Kel, and the doctor that is observing her by the name of Drea. And Drea is letting him know, like, Sarah's heart rate, her vitals, everything's normal. Like, I don't know what to tell you, the machines don't lie. They don't really understand how she walked away from that crash fresh, without a single scratch on her. They believe it has something to do with the Loyalists, the people that they're currently having a civil war with. That she's got to be some kind of spy, some kind of living weapon. But there's no indication that she's any kind of weapon. No surgical scars, nothing hidden on her, nothing. This is where she says, nobody sent me. She remembers speaking on television. She remembers the bright lights. She remembers talking about mutant kind. And then she remembers the men who followed her, the men who jumped her, the men who took her captive. She remembers Hodge. The Purifiers captured her. She got thrown into a cell, and Cameron Hodge used him for experimentation. His blind rage to exterminate mutant kind. It led to something more dangerous. Cameron Hodge encountered the Phalanx, a techno-organic species that lives to assimilate to people, and Hodge saw this as a way to purify mutant problems. The Phalanx technology would reprogram all of Earth's mutants, thus wiping them from existence and adding the mutants to the collective hive mind of the Phalanx. Now, in this moment, we see that she is able to block the Phalanx from her mind. It's able to get in there, but she's able to keep it from the most important and private parts of her mind. But the last thing that she heard, the last thing the Phalanx told her before it went black, they told her that Jean Grey was dead. Now she can't remember how she got here. Now, obviously, Kel and Drea, they don't know what to think about this. She waves her hand and tells him to open the door. She touches Kale, and she activates a power in him. The normal wife, the normal mom, the normal sister to the most powerful mutant in the galaxy was now a mutant. A normal girl turned saint. Or at least that's how the world was seeing her. That's how people were seeing her. And so they would come from all over the galaxy just for a chance to unlock their potential mutant abilities. And this is what takes us over to present day. We pick up in Greyhaven. Kale, now the private security and right hand to Sarah. She says that this is a safe place for all mutant and mutant sympathizers. Kale having his powers unlocked, the rebels were able to take back the planet. They were able to stop the oppression. Now Jean's thinking like, this is a lot. Like, you have mutant powers, you survived death more than once. I'm trying to comprehend all this. I'm trying to understand everything that is going on, but I'm really having a hard time. This is when we see Sarah get blasted, and taking that round, we see the one who shot it was none other than Cable. He tells Jean that it sounds pretty unbelievable if you ask me. And he tells her, I need you to understand your own lie. Because if you don't, I'm gonna have to make you understand. Cable comes in, guns a-blazing. And of course, Jean, she's deflecting everything, wondering why Nathan won't just talk to her. But he's telling her, just read my mind. Though she knows that he's powerful enough to set up any kind of temporary mental traps. Jean really wants Cable just to explain why you're here, why you're shooting. Maybe I can help you. This is when Cable lets her know that I'm here for the imposter that is claiming to be Sarah Grey. And when Sarah Grey's guard tries coming in and taking down Cable, we quickly see that his powers, they don't work. So when Cable goes in to lay one across his face, Jean Grey stops the both of them. And she tells Cable, you know you can't beat me. You know you're not gonna get to my sister at this point, so explain yourself. This is where Cable goes on to explain that this is not her sister. This is an echo that Jean Grey created. She's as real as a memory, but she's not the real thing. Not in the way that Jean and Cable are real. And Cable's trying to let her know, like, you're letting your emotions cloud your ability to see what is real, to see what is really happening here. Having Belle initiate the dampeners and they begin their time slide, Cable knows that she's not going to truly listen to him until she has experienced the truth for herself. And so Cable grabs Jean, and they time slide out of here. They time slide to the future. Cable tries to let her know that, well, the future is possibility. This is the only possibility if you continue to deny the truth about Sarah Gray. Because Sarah's not lying to you. She's just not real. There was a psychic blast that got sent throughout the universe, one that was so powerful, Cable felt it in the future. It was like the entire timeline had shuddered. And Jean knows what this is about. Back in Phoenix issue number 10, the Dark Gods were trying to spread. They were using the nexus of all realities. They were trying to plunge this universe and the next into the Shadow Realm. But if we connect all the dots, this all goes back to the Phoenix. While we see Cable and Jean battling whatever undead exists in this future timeline, that's when the Phoenix comes out. This is where Jean finally figures out that she created Sarah. When she sent out the wave, when she connected herself to the universe, putting a piece of herself in the stars. Sarah Gray, she's the personification of that energy, the link that she established. But now that link is killing the universe. And of course, Cable recommends the best course of action is to extinguish her, to erase her from existence so the universe doesn't fall apart. Jean Grey, obviously insulted by this, she slaps Cable. The way that Jean's seeing it, that her energy may have brought her into existence, but she does exist nonetheless. And so in her mind, that makes her a real person. And Cable's not saying that she isn't real, just not real in the same way that you and I are real. And that her existence, it is endangering all of existence itself. Cable really just wanted her to be able to focus on her senses, to take a moment and think. You must have felt that something was wrong, that something was off. This is when she thinks about the white hot room. It's connected to the very spine of the entire universe, and the white hot room was falling apart around her. She ignored it. She ignored the signs, ignored that Sarah never asked about her kids, never asked about Paul or her husband or anything. She ignored all the inaccuracies in her story. But Jean also knows that she can't act this way. She is supposed to be the Phoenix. Letting emotion so much cloud her judgment that it puts the entire universe in jeopardy is the very thing that she is terrified of having this power for. But now understanding the situation, understanding what was happening around her, she plans to rectify her mistakes. This is what picks us up with Sarah. Now, for all intents and purposes, Sarah's a real person. She believes she's alive. Any memories that she has, Jean more or less created those memories. Jean literally recreated her sister with mutant powers, gave her a mutant power that would allow other mutants to more or less activate their X gene. She truly is an anomaly in the universe. But they were able to track the Phoenix. They tracked her down, but they found that they were in a different time. When they did the time slide, they didn't understand Sarah and her group. They didn't understand what Cable was doing, that he was going to the future. And so they've come to the right place, but they're at the wrong time. This is when everything around them begins to change. This is when they begin to hear the voice. It tells them that Jean Grey is in the future. A future where all the universe is in ruin. That, of course, is all because of Sarah Gray, the one between reality and imagination. Someone so unique just created in this universe. It has grabbed the attention of the in-betweener. It tells Sarah Gray it is time that the two of them have a conversation. So the story is picking us up with the in-betweener and Sarah Gray. And the in-betweener really is letting her know that you're a shadow. And shadows, they're not merely the absence of light, but they're also duality, light and dark, presence and void. Sarah is the shadow of the Phoenix's flame, born of the white hot room, carrying a piece of the universe as her very own programming. And so Sarah asks the in-betweener, am I real or am I not? What am I? The in-betweener, he tells her that you are real, but you also are not real. This is where Sarah, she kind of loses it, because these vague answers, this is not enough for her. Binaries are not good enough for her. She needs to know, what is she? Now this is what takes us to the Phoenix and Cable. With Sarah having that outburst, She's able to feel it even here. She knows that Sarah is in the white-hot room. She knows that something is wrong. And though Cable apologizes, he says, I know this isn't necessarily how you wanted things to go, but this is the way that things have to be done, and I'm sorry for what you have to do. But the Phoenix, she lets him know that you haven't mistaken. You misunderstand my intention. I'm the Phoenix. If the universe doesn't want to accept Sarah Gray as an entity in this universe, I'll force it. Now, as we hop many years ago, we pick up with Sarah and Jean as young children. Upstate New York, they go into an abandoned building. They go down into the basement and they start playing with the Ouija board. Now, while these kids sit here and play with it, this is one of the first times that we see her powers activated. When the lights go out, it's as if someone is speaking through Jean. And Sarah, she shakes her. She tries to snap her out of it, and the other kids, they're a little freaked out. But Sarah's able to play this off like it's nothing more than a prank. And thinking back on this, Jean thinks about how she's always been afraid. Afraid when her friend had died and her powers trapped her in her own mind. After Professor Xavier tried to teach her how to use those powers. After she fought evil mutants as Marvel Girl. But this was never because she feared her own power. It's because it felt like a relief. With the Phoenix making it to the white-hot room. This is where she runs into the in-betweener, thinking that letting the Phoenix take over, having this power, it felt like relief, exhaling a breath. But she's done with that. And with the in-betweener here, she tells him that you don't belong here, though he would argue that he belongs everywhere. That he has a right to be here. It is his job to preserve the equilibrium of all opposing forces in the universe. And Jean Grey has upset that equilibrium. But Jean, she refuses to back down. She goes toe-to-toe with the in-betweener, pushing him back, knocking him to the ground. But the in-betweener is telling her that you don't get to bend the universe to your will. In her rage, she says, why not? That I command the stars, the heart of the universe beats in my chest. But I have been so afraid to assert my own will. I have seen so much death, so much taken from me. The universe is going to accept this. The universe is going to do this. That I will change the universe, even if it's for one being. This is when the in-betweener lets her know that if you want to do this, if you want to continue down this path, that one life, it has a cost. And if you're no longer willing to help maintain the balance of the cosmos, then everybody is going to be here to stop you. This is where we have Continuum show up, Eternity, Lord Chaos, the Preordained, the Living Tribunal, Oblivion, Master Order, and Infinity. All of them show up and they are opposing Jean Grey. Because today, the gods are here to witness Jean Grey set things right. They are here to witness the removal of Sarah Gray from existence. Now, obviously, Jean, she wants to stand opposed to this. She's been a hero. She's always done the right thing, even when she's scared, even when it cost her everything. And today, she just wants this one thing. She wants this one thing to not be stripped away from her. But in this moment, even Sarah tells her that I understand. I understand what you need to do. When Jean says that she won't do it, that she can't do it, the gods tell her that even as the Phoenix, you can't stand opposed to us all. But the Phoenix isn't gonna have to, because tonight, she's not on her own. Here in the white-hot room, we see all of the Phoenix hosts that have transcended the physical world, living or dead. Their consciousnesses have been summoned. They have been called here, and they are ready to fight alongside Jean Grey. This is where we see Rook Shear, Rachel Summers, Quentin Quire, Hope Summers, and Fong Ji Woo. The Phoenixes have risen, and the war for Sarah Gray has begun. As we see Oblivion and Eternity, they discuss what's ongoing. In fact, Oblivion in this whole situation, he's kind of been a defender of the Phoenix. Because without creation of the Phoenix, there is no Oblivion to unmake. He needs the cycles of life and death. They all need the cycles of life and death, because without this, how would you define eternity? The other cosmic beings, they're gonna argue that there's gotta be some kind of justice, that the balance has to be fixed, and judgment's already been passed. Though Oblivion would argue that the judgment's already been passed on the Living Tribunal and all those who would agree. The biggest concern is that the Phoenix has grown too human, too unpredictable, selfish, and emotional. So if the Phoenix thinks that she is going to define the will of the cosmic entities, the Phoenix will meet her end. This is what takes us to present day. Rookshire, Rachel Summers, we got a little bit of everybody in here. And though they did say that this is everybody that's had the Phoenix Force, or kind of adjacent to, but there's individuals missing here, as you can tell. But these people have been summoned here to defend the Phoenix, with the Living Tribunal and all the cosmic entities here to destroy the Phoenix. We see the battle begin, and if Jean Grey is being honest with herself, she knows that this is a fight she can't win. Even with the embodiment of the past Phoenix hosts really lending her strength, they can't win, because in this situation, there is no winning. Winning somehow means saving her sister, but it means the white hot room and the souls that reside in it, they'll all be destroyed, followed by the rest of the universe as it collapses inward on itself. And if the white hot room is destroyed, so is Quentin Quire and everyone that was summoned here to defend the Phoenix Force. And so while Jean Grey really works to hold the white hot room together, this is where they call on Oblivion. The time has come. With dagger in hand, this is the judgment of the Living Tribunal. The Phoenix will be no more. Each of the cosmic entities passing their judgment, from the continuum to the preordained. We see the Phoenix use the full force of her power, empowered by the other Phoenix hosts. Even with this unprecedented amount of power, it is still not enough. This is the end. The Phoenix is going to spend her last moments holding the very fabrics of reality together as long as she can. And as that flame burns out, as we watch Jean Grey fall to the ground, all she can think about is how she wanted to save her sister with her immense amount of power, reigniting freaking stars. She thought maybe, just maybe, I could save this one life. And as Oblivion approaches, Oblivion says that I've known for eons, through the various hosts, various moods, I've known the Phoenix better than most. But I would speak to Jean Grey now, because I believe that Jean Grey changed the Phoenix for the better. He does believe that Jean Grey is the Phoenix. But even Oblivion must pass his judgment as he goes to slay the Phoenix. This is where Jean Grey stops him. She stays his hand. She tells all the cosmic beings that you're all acting without compassion. And without compassion, this universe is gonna fall. Because in judging the Phoenix, you have all damned yourselves. Well, it is true, the Phoenix Force is one with a human woman, Jean Grey. But Oblivion said it himself, that they're better for it. That humanity has not simply corrupted the Phoenix. In fact, it has tamed it. It has taught it. It is now wielded with intent and purpose. Jean Grey may not be what you consider to be a god, but she is the best of us. She is the light in the dark. Even a god must see this. Now, Eternity, they take these words and they really ponder them. They really think on them. And they think that even the gods need a judge. Even if this were the case, Sarah's existence threatens the very structure of the whole universe. A piece of its spine was removed to create Sarah. And so Sarah says, end me. If I am the problem, then do what you must. Of course, Jean Grey, she opposes this. This entire fight, this entire battle was to make sure Sarah stayed alive. The way Jean sees it, if the universe needs her, it needs Sarah. That the two of them are linked. Cable, the gods, they've all tried to convince her that defending her is selfish. She refuses to not measure one life against others, not glorify sacrificing for the greater good, but they should seek for a way to really preserve every single life. If there's an imbalance, they can find a way to right it. And if we are incapable of such acts, then how can we sit here and be worthy of the title God? Even Oblivion has to laugh and say that she's got a point. Now, Eternity says that we hear you out. We're gonna listen to you, but you're also not gonna overstep your bounds again. In the case of Sarah Grey, we pick up 1 month later. Sarah Grey has taken on a new role. She has been placed upon the cosmos, and they now call her Beacon. She is the guiding light for the gods. She's here really to ensure that they don't stray too far from compassion. And Sarah, she really is happy with this. The work that she does, it feels important. Occasionally, she wonders what she is. Memories, pieces of the universe. She's Sarah Gray, but she's also not. She's something different. But for the Phoenix, she says that you're my sister. You're Sarah Gray. And thanks to you, Scott, Hope, Rachel, even Cable, the Phoenix is finally happy. That is where this series will end. So let me know what you guys think. After 15 issues, how are you guys feeling? It's all come to an end, and I gotta say, it was pretty enjoyable. You know, I thought we would get a little bit more. The whole Sarah Gray thing, it was kind of a letdown. Like, the potential for the story going against cosmic entities. Like, the potential for that story is fantastic. But it was rather anticlimactic at the end. It was really like, oh, I'm gonna defend to save my sister, but by the way, I'll sacrifice myself at the end of the story. By the way, we don't actually have to sacrifice you. We can give you a new role in the universe, and it all works and it all makes sense. So what you're telling me is that the cosmic entities in the Living Tribunal, they could have come to her and they could have easily been like, listen, your sister was essentially ripped from the universe to be created, and we have to fill that spot. So if you want her to live, we have to find a way for her to fit into the universe. But it's also showing the aspects of the cosmic entities and their utter disregard for anything that doesn't have to do with them. As soon as the Phoenix messed up, the cosmic entities came in and they're like, yo, kill her. They said, kill her right now. Kill her. Get rid of her. We need a new Phoenix. She's messing things up. We don't like it. Change isn't a good thing. Get rid of the Phoenix. But it just shows how inhuman the cosmic entities and the gods truly are. That they don't think in the ways of we do. They just think like, hey, you're messing up the balance. We're gonna fix the balance. We'll pass judgment. We'll kill you. The balance will be restored. End of discussion. Now, moving forward, are we gonna see Guiding Light and Sarah Gray really having a role? Probably not. This is the most insignificant role you could probably create. Now, don't get me wrong. Later on down the line, there could be a writer that comes along and is like, I'm gonna take this character, Guiding Light, and I'm gonna make them stupid OP and do something crazy with them. But this ending conclusion was really just a way of getting rid of the character, not having to use him again, but closing out the story as a whole to make it make sense. It's very plot hole driven. Now, we could argue that that's for the sake of the series getting canceled and them no longer continuing on the story, so they needed to close it out. Or you could chop it up to bad writing. I'll let you guys be the one to decide, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that has been going on with this Phoenix series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers from $1 to $50, we got a bunch of different options that greatly help out the channel, but if you're not able to do that, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel, liking this video, hitting that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.